Implementation interrupts patterns. It creates momentum and it turns awareness into alignment. And yes, implementation is uncomfortable, but it's not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's the sign that you're evolving. Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I'm your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this. Hey friends, and welcome back to Life Coaching for Mompreneurs. Last week on episode 280, cannot believe this is episode 281. Anyway, we talked about implementation, and today I want to build on that conversation with a question that I think we all need to be asking ourselves on a regular basis, especially this time of year, even if you want to do it quarterly. But the question is, am I evolving or am I just revolving? Because here's what I see and what I've experienced also, but what I experienced in my coaching is that the women who are smart, capable, driven, faithful, intentional, they still feel stuck, right? And it's not because they're not trying. It's not because you're not trying, I'm not trying. It's not because we aren't growing. It's because we're moving, but we're not actually moving forward. We're not evolving, we're revolving. So what does revolving look like? It's not necessarily laziness. It's not lack of effort. It looks like setting goals every January, learning something new and feeling hopeful, having the same conversations about the same frustrations, feeling motivated and then feeling overwhelmed, managing stress better, but still living under it some, telling yourself next season will be different. Revolving feels busy. It feels productive. It feels responsible. But when you look back, honestly, and really take an honest look, you can see that the patterns haven't changed. So it's a different year, a different month with the same pressure, the same overthinking, the same boundaries being crossed, the same exhaustion, kind of that same cycle. I talk about several cycles on here, but one is the performance, like a performance loop, and the other one is the burnout cycle. So you're just kind of staying in those cycles and in those loops. And that's the part that creates that quiet discouragement, that creates that quiet resentment that you might be feeling, is that you know you're working and you know you're being busy, but you're not moving forward, right? It's like running on a treadmill. You're running really hard, working really hard, but you're not going anywhere. So we can be prone to revolving because effort has always worked for you. Effort has always worked for me. I've been rewarded for pushing through. Slowing down feels unsafe to slow down and kind of think through. Rest feels unproductive. Reflection feels inefficient. I was just talking about this with my coach. And then discomfort feels like failure. So it doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel familiar. And so I don't move forward. Then I feel like a failure. So instead of changing patterns, here's what we do when we're just revolving. We manage the symptoms. We optimize our systems. We add planners. We try harder. We push longer. But effort alone doesn't equal evolution. Growth requires different choices, not just more commitment. I want you to hear me on that. Growth requires different choices, not just more commitment. So here's the part that we don't talk about a lot. Maybe you haven't been taught, is that your brain is not wired for growth. And I'm going to keep talking about this because I just see so many of us, especially women, taking it personal when things like this happen. But your brain's not wired for growth. It's wired for safety and efficiency. So revolving stays inside what's familiar. And even familiar stress feels safer to the nervous system than unfamiliar chaos or unfamiliar peace, right? So again, it's the hard you know is hard, but it feels safe. The hard you don't know feels unsafe. So you just stay in the current hard. You just revolve because your nervous system is more comfortable with that than it is with like the unfamiliar piece that could come when you evolve. So when you try to evolve even into something better, your brain doesn't register growth. It registers unknown, unpredictable, uncomfortable, and that can feel threatening. This is why you can want to change and still default to old patterns. I talked about this on my live experience last week, but it's not because you lack discipline. It's not because you're self sabotaging. It's because your nervous system is choosing familiarity over uncertainty. And that's what it's going to do every time. So once you understand that, you can respond differently. You can choose to evolve anyway. Revolving is familiar, right? Just spinning in circles, revolving around the same patterns, the same habits, the same choices. Evolving is unfamiliar, right? My brand is evolving. I'm evolving as a coach. How I show up professionally and personally is evolving, and that has been really unfamiliar. I'm evolving as I learn how to be ambitious while also grieving at the same time. That's evolution. And so it feels very unfamiliar and it doesn't always feel safe. I can promise you that. And the body's always going to choose familiar first until it learns something new is safe. And this is what I have learned. What my body has learned is that it's safe to feel grief. It's safe to feel even anger, right? It's safe to slow down and process those emotions. And so I don't have to push through or perform through it or work through it or avoid it. My body now feels more safe than it's ever felt to allow myself to do that and to show up in that way. So evolving isn't dramatic, it's often subtle. Evolving looks like responding differently when things don't go your way, setting a boundary that you used to avoid, choosing rest without justifying it, right? That's probably people don't see you doing that. You feel it though. Tolerating discomfort instead of escaping it, doing less but with more intention, which is what I've evolved also as I think back to this season and not being able to spend circumstantially as much time in my business as I would have had I not been doing the things and being the caregiver and now in the season of grief. Like I've had to learn and evolve and how to do less, but with more intention. Evolving looks like implementing what you already know. And we are in an age where knowledge is everywhere, information is everywhere. You have it at your fingertips. You can chat GPT it, you can AI it, you can Google it, you can do all the things, right? But evolving looks like I'm not just going to be a consumer of this information. I'm going to be an implementer. Is that a word? But I'm going to implement what I already know. I don't need to learn anything else. Remember, I told you, I think in the last episode, or maybe this was in the training, they're kind of getting blurry a little bit, but my default was to learn. That felt very safe for me. And so now it's like, am I implementing, as I think about evolving, am I implementing what I already know? Or am I still avoiding the discomfort? That's evolving. Evolving changes how you live, not just what you plan, right? We think we're evolving when we just change the plan, but it changes how you live when you evolve. And here's the key distinction. Evolving changes circumstances, the plan. Evolving changes the patterns. So I want you to think about that. And here's how you can kind of tell which one you're in. I want you to ask yourself these questions honestly, without judgment or shame. Am I making different choices or am I just creating new plans? Do I feel more capacity or more responsibility? Am I reacting the same way in familiar situations or do I see myself showing up differently? What keeps coming up that I've already worked on? And I say this with so much compassion because it's not that I don't still default to learning. It's that I'm evolving in that process. I'm catching that pattern sooner and I'm redirecting myself back to implementation. It's not that I don't catch myself in the performance loop again, right? It's that I am actively working on that. I don't want you to think that you're never going to experience these things again, or if you do, you're just revolving. You're so aware of it and you're growing through it and you are evolving. Quick pause. If you've been listening and you're ready to stop performing your life and start leading it, if you know you're ready to feel better now, not later, and you're ready for support that actually creates sustainable transformation, I have private one-on-one coaching spots open. And inside this coaching, in Illuminate You coaching, we don't guess. We use your unique personality blueprint built from the science-backed personality performance tool called the ProScan, the one you've heard me talk about here in the podcast. This is used so that every decision, every boundary, every shift is designed specifically around your wiring, not someone else's. This is my aligned success method. It's not hacks. It's not try harder. It's not mindset glitter. It's a real solution. It's rooted in science, strategy, and your unique design. So you can lead your life as the woman you actually are, not the woman others expect you to be. You don't need a new year to make a new decision, friend. Now is the time. Take the step. Book your clarity call at martinewilliams.com/clarity. All right, back to the episode. Evolving or revolving is like, what am I avoiding implementing because it's uncomfortable? So is that a pattern that you have? I avoid posting on social media because it feels uncomfortable. I avoid implementing on a new idea because I don't feel like I have all the answers. Patterns tell the truth faster than your intentions. So be watching and be aware of what your patterns are. Are they repeating? And are they getting the desired result you want? Are they just revolving and you just keep doing the same patterns? If there are some really great patterns, I'm giving patterns kind of a bad rap here, but also celebrate the ones that are helping you to evolve and that are helping you to create the results that you're looking for. But they'll tell you, right, faster than your intentions, what's really going on. If the same issue keeps resurfacing, again, that's not failure, it's information. So what are we going to do with that information? And this is where last week's conversation kind of comes full circle. Revolving happens when insights stays intellectual. So like you get your awareness and it just kind of stays up here. Evolving happens when that becomes lived, when you put implementation behind it, right? You get the information, you get the awareness, and then you put some action behind it. That's the evolution. And implementation is what teaches your nervous system that something new is safe. Like there's no way around that. I wish there was. Believe me, I have tried. But the only way to know is to go. And the only way to teach your nervous system that you're safe is to go through that. Implementation interrupts patterns. It creates momentum and it turns awareness into alignment. And yes, implementation is uncomfortable, which is why I have a coach. Because there are things that I want to do and I've been wanting to do in my business. And every time I go to implement, I'm met with uncomfortableness. I am met with fear. I am met with doubt. I am met with, I don't know how to do this yet, right? And so that's completely normal. But it's asking you to stop defaulting to what's familiar. That's why. That's the resistance is when I implement, I am telling myself that I'm going to stop defaulting to what's familiar. But it's not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's the sign that you're evolving. So like, how could you have a really powerful thought about that? Oh, here's that uncomfortableness. Here's that uncertainty. I must be evolving. Like that's a really fun, powerful thought to think about. Not I'm doing it wrong, or I'm not supposed to feel this way, or look at her. She seems to be able to do it easier than me. No, like this is a sign that I'm evolving and that I'm growing and I'm changing. And yes, it's uncomfortable. And I'm capable of holding that. So here's just kind of a simple practice you can use at any time when you're feeling stuck. I want you to ask yourself, what is the one pattern that I'm ready to interrupt? I've shared a couple of mine with you over the last couple episodes, but what's the one pattern that you're ready to interrupt? You're not fixing it. It's not about being perfected. It's just you want to interrupt it. And then you want to ask, what choice would an evolving version of me make here? The future self. What would my future self, who is evolving, who has evolved, what choice would she make here? What would she do? What would if you're wanting to build a business, a six-figure, what would my 100K self do? What would the choice be that she would make right now? if your goal is 10 pounds lighter this year, what choice would an evolving version of me who is headed towards 10 pounds less make right now? Not the current self, your future self. And then what would it look like to respond instead of react? What boundary would I honor in this moment? What would I stop tolerating? What would I stop tolerating? Like, what are you tolerating? What have you tolerated this year that can't go with you into 2026? And that might be some people as well. But when you think about 2026 and where you want to go in 2026, what do you need to stop tolerating? For me, I need to stop tolerating some of my own patterns, right? I need to disrupt them. I need to interrupt them. And I'm able to do that in a really powerful, dare I say, fun way because I have support to help me and to remind me of all the things I have worked on, all the things I have done and accomplished, while also holding the space for, but I've got this over here that I want to work on. And it's really, really powerful and luxurious to have someone to have your back. Every time I come to a call, she's got my back and she's helping me to see that. But evolution happens in moments, not in milestones. So this is not like jumping the Grand Canyon, changing your life, your entire life in 30 days. It's just being aware of the revolving door in your life. What are the areas in your life that are just revolving? And I had the best message from a former client this week who was just she's not currently coaching, so I said that already. She's a former client. But anyway, she shared with me that this was one of the first holidays that she could remember in a really long time where she wasn't calling her doctor asking for a 30-day supply of some type of antidepressant. And like the evolution that she has had, the evolving that she had during our coaching time together, and the way she's able to look at her life and her business. This is someone who has a new baby as well. Like that was just such a powerful moment for her, I think, to have that realization. And also for me as the coach to see that, the long-term impact of our coaching. We haven't coached in months, but she's still implementing, she's still applying what she learned during our 6 months together, so much so that she's not having to put herself on an antidepressant during the holidays. Like, that's the power of coaching. That's the power of implementing. That's the power of self leadership. So I just wanted to share that with you because if you're thinking about 2026 and not wanting to repeat the same patterns, stop tolerating certain things, and having some evolution in your business. I don't talk about that enough on the podcast, but I do coach on business as well. But if you're looking for something different, you're wanting a different result in 2026, you can't be in the revolving door of life. You can't be in the revolving door of your patterns. And sometimes you can't see those patterns because you have blind spots. I have blind spots. And sometimes you see the pattern, but you're like, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what the first step is. And so having a thought partner to come in and help you with that. And then sometimes you know what to do, you're just not doing it, right? And so this is where having a coach is really, really powerful. And I can say that with such like just love in my heart because I know what it feels like to be coached and I know what it feels like to have that support. And so if that's something you're thinking about for 2026, I would love to come alongside you and help you to create the 2026 that will make you feel whatever it is that you want to feel. I want to give you a word there because everyone has a different one that they want to feel. For me, my word of the year is connect. I want to feel deeply connected to you in my community. I want to feel deeply connected to my services and what I'm offering. I want to feel deeply connected to my family and I want to feel deeply connected to me, right? So if you've been realizing you've been revolving, I want you to hear me when I say you're not behind, you're not failing, you're just becoming more aware. And I hope this podcast and my emails and the trainings that I offer always brings that because that's the first step. You got to see it first. You got to be aware of what's going on, not having your head in the sand and wishful thinking. Like you have to become aware. Awareness is the doorway to evolution. And when you choose to act on it, right? So it's not just being aware, but it's being aware and then being in acceptance and then taking action, being activated by those two things. That's when the evolution really happens. So the woman you're becoming isn't doing more, she's doing things differently. And that difference changes everything. So as you move through this week, I would want you to notice, where are you evolving and where might you still be revolving? You're just going in circles. Same pattern, same choices, same results. There's no shame here, only the invitation into more, the invitation into seeing things differently, an invitation to lead yourself differently in 2026, because you don't need another year of trying harder. You know that loop, that hustle. You need a year of choosing differently. And I don't even think it's just a need. I think you want a year that's different. And that choice is available to you today. You don't have to wait until January 1st. You can choose that today. So I want you to go to martinewilliams.com/clarity. It's where you can book your free clarity call. I have just a handful left for 2025 before I take time off for the holidays. But if you don't see a time on there that works for you, please send me an email at martinewilliams.com. Send me 3 dates and times that work for you, and I will make it work for you. Okay? So until next time, keep leading your life with intention and know that I'm believing in you always. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.